Cannabis is a hot topic these days. It's now legal in some states, not just for medical use, but now also for recreation in some places. Right now, there's so much information out there, and yet there may be some things you just don't know. So that's what this video is about. One thing we do know is that people do like to use cannabis with friends, and some students use it regularly because they say it helps with relaxation, sleep, and even anxiety. While these short-term effects may seem positive, using marijuana daily over time can bring results you may not want. Specifically, we know that in the long run, regular use can cause some problems. Paradoxically, long-term use often causes or worsens the very same problems people start smoking to resolve in the first place, like anxiety or insomnia. Let's start by talking about sleep. While using weed right before bed can make you feel drowsy and help you fall asleep, researchers have found that regular use seriously disrupts normal sleep patterns. When comparing those who use weed regularly with those who do not, they found that regular users do not go into a natural and necessary deep sleep as they should. This can over time lead to things like fatigue, irritability, mood changes, and difficulty focusing and remembering. And as your body adapts to the regular use, sometimes there are changes that occur in this adaptation such that when you quit, even for one night, there's an inability to go to sleep at all. And you might also have disruptive dreams. These are called withdrawal effects, and it can take some time for your body to return to a normal sleep pattern after quitting long-term use. Whoa, wait a minute. Withdrawal? Isn't that just for addictive drugs? Maybe you've heard that pot is not addictive. Cannabis use disorder is maybe not like what we think of as a classic addiction in the sense that a person may not have intense cravings or need to go to the hospital to detox, for example, but it can cause a physical and psychological dependence. Here are some of the symptoms of cannabis use disorder, like trying to cut back but being unable, risky use, like driving. It might affect relationships, and you might need more and more over time to get the same effect. So how does smoking impact your schoolwork? The National Institute on Drug Abuse, or NIDA, has found that attention, memory, and learning can all be negatively impacted for days to weeks after the acute effects of the drug wear off. This means that if you're using daily, it's possible that your schoolwork might be impacted almost all the time. And a review of almost 50 research studies has found that smoking regularly is correlated with a lower GPA, academic disruption, and lower graduation rates. Later in life, when looking at heavier smokers with those who use less often, they found that heavy users are more likely to have lower incomes and career achievement. Well, so having said all of that, there's still a lot of good reasons people might want to use cannabis. I mean, a lot of people feel a lot of anxiety, and most people do feel more relaxed when they smoke in the short term. As the body adapts to regular cannabis use, however, it can often disrupt the very same bodily systems that help us adapt to stress in our environment. Our bodies have something called the endocannabinoid system that learns from our experiences how to relax. For example, the more times you give a speech, the less anxious you are each time. That learning to adapt takes place in our endocannabinoid system. So when we artificially place weed into that system repeatedly, unfortunately, our normal ability to adapt to those external stressors just doesn't work as well. And unfortunately, regular cannabis use often helps us avoid things that make us anxious. And that further weakens our ability to learn how to handle stress. And while this certainly does not apply to everyone, smoking regularly can be correlated with other serious mental illnesses like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and an earlier onset of psychotic episodes for those who do develop schizophrenia. While smoking weed is correlated with serious mental illness, researchers do not yet know if it directly causes mental illness. What we do know is that heavy use appears to trigger mental illness in people who have a family history or a genetic susceptibility. It's also important to know that large amounts of THC can lead to ongoing feelings of disassociation or acute psychotic episodes that can mimic other psychiatric disorders. Some of this information may or may not be new to you. Either way, if after watching you think you might have a cannabis use disorder or you're concerned about your use, remember many of the things we talked about in this video are reversible, and recovery from a cannabis use disorder is certainly possible. While withdrawal can be uncomfortable, the worst symptoms are usually over in the first week. A great first step, if you're just seeking information or want to explore your own cannabis use, is to seek out support. And here at Penn State, there are many resources available to you. One great first step, if you are wondering about your use, is the Marijuana Intervention Program. This consists of 2 free sessions with a health educator who will assess your use and help you limit the negative impact of that use. This program is through a group on campus called Health Promotion and Wellness. CAPS can also be a great option for you. We have a drop-in mutual support group called Smart Recovery, which focuses on motivation for change, coping strategies, living a more balanced lifestyle, and learning to deal with thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Of course, CAPS also offers other individual and group counseling services as well. Finally, Penn State offers a recovery program to provide students with ongoing peer support to stay free from substances and find new ways of not just coping, but thriving with others who are doing the same thing. This is called the Collegiate Recovery Community. You can learn more by calling CAPS at 814-863-0395 if you're at University Park campus, or you can follow this link to find Commonwealth Campus and World Campus resources.